Hi, in this video, I am going to solve the prelim paper of Cathedral and John Connon School, which was held in January 2013. Although I have retyped the questions for you all again, it is advisable to keep your question paper and your own solution in front and check. The first question, define work function. So I guess everybody knows work function is the minimum amount of thermal energy which should be provided to a metal so that emission of electrons take place from its surface. And the unit of work function is electron volts, which is unit of energy in modern physics, and I'm sure all of you all know that 1 electron volt is 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 joules. Now question 1 part B, what is a radioisotope? Give an example. Now all nuclei of an element need not be radioactive. The isotopes which are radioactive are called radioisotopes. So basically for any element, if a given isotope is radioactive, then the isotope is called a radioisotope. There are several examples of a radioisotope. One of them is carbon 14. Technically, there are several isotopes of carbon: carbon 12, carbon 13, and carbon 14. However, only carbon 14 is found to be radioactive, and hence we can call it a radioisotope. Another example is iodine 131. So there are several isotopes of iodine. However, the one with mass number 131 is found to be radioactive, and hence we call iodine 131 as a radioisotope. Now have a look at this diagram here. There is a ray of light which strikes a prism. The angles A and C are not marked. We are expected to find the angles A and C according to the question, and we have been told that this particular ray of light undergoes critical phenomenon or moves along the surface when the light strikes the hypotenuse of the triangle. So we have to find out the value of A and C, and we have been told that this prism is made up of glass and its critical angle is 42 degrees. So in that case, if light has to undergo critical phenomenon out here, then the angle of incidence at the hypotenuse should be equal to the critical angle. So basically the angle out here should be 42 degrees. As a consequence, we can say that this angle, which is a complementary angle, will be 48 degrees. And assuming this to be 90, we can say therefore the angle at the top, which is angle A, is 42 degrees. And similarly, by using the idea that sum of all the angles in a triangle is 180, we can predict that angle C will be equal to 48 degrees. The next sub question, show the direction and magnitude of the forces exerted by 4 strings marked 1, 2, 3 and 4. So the 4 strings are 1, 2, 3 and 4. From this diagram, it is very clear that the load is acting downward out here. There will be 2 tensions out here, and both these tensions will be equal to half the load. So therefore, we can say that tension number 4 and tension number 2 are both having equal values, which is half the weight of the block or half the load. Now the tension out here will be balanced by these two strings, ones which are marked as number 1 and number 3. So tension of 2 will be balanced by tension of strings number 3 and 1. So in that case we can say tension 3 and 1 are equal, and it will be half of L by 2. So which will be equal to L by 4. Whereas the tension out here will be equal to L by 4, which is same as the tension in string number 1 and 3. Also a reminder that all the tensions act upwards, and therefore you can mark arrows moving upwards. So in that case we can say effort is equal to load upon 4, and as a consequence load upon effort will be equal to 4, and therefore MA will be equal to 4. Next sub question. State one advantage and one disadvantage of using wind energy for generating electricity. Now the advantage obviously is that wind energy is definitely a renewable source of energy. Whereas the disadvantage is that wind generators are dependent on winds, and therefore if there are no winds, then no electricity will be generated at that point of time.